Hey, y'all, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. Remember to follow all of our platforms, and you can find them by going to Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. I'm Jay, and today Joe and I will be going back 40 years to talk about the 80s and the impact on today's culture. Well, you ready to jump in that DeLorean and go back in time?
Man, 40 years. When you say it that way, it seems like a long time.
Well, that's
Man, what was I?
It's a few
10?
decades ago,
Like
man.
10 years old. Yeah. No. Let's do this.
Here we go. Somebody let Doc Brown know it was the Libyans.
We're coming back.
Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by once again. And man, we're just running right through the month here.
God, man, I can't believe it, man. This month is going by quick.
2024 is just already starting to zip by faster than the last year went by. So anyhow, so we're gonna kind of talk about probably a decade that was really influential to us and to a lot of people. The 1980s.
Man, when you talk about it in numbers like that, that seems so long ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was so long time ago, but it doesn't seem like that for us that we're the product of the 80s.
Right.
It does not seem that way.
We were in the midst of it. So
yeah, and if you go back 40 years, was that in the 60s? Right? No, 6. What do I think about? What is that? The 30s, right?
From 1980, 40 years back, it'd be the 40s.
Damn, can you imagine how
that
40s?
Math,
yeah, that's the
that
high school
math
it got me all flabbergasted.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no, it can't be the 60s. That was the 80s. But could you imagine that? Like, how long ago that seems now? Like,
dude, it's
man, I don't know. Well, it's getting old. But here's the thing.
Yeah, so you're right. So think about somebody they lived their childhood in the 40s, and where we're at right now is where they would have been at in the 80s.
Man,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and here we are in the
I remember like
2020s.
I remember talking to my grandma about the 1917s and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, back in the days, and it's just, back when her parents would talk to her about, or would be my great grandparents would talk to her about back then, how things were down in Texas. And then here we are, talking to our kids about the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how we grew up and, what was going on back then. I mean, we were clearly products of the 80s. We were born in the 70s, but we're a product of the 80s.
Right.
And how things have changed like so much. Let's talk about some of those changes. Let's talk about some of the most common ones, the most obvious ones. We didn't have the technology that we have today.
Oh,
right?
not at all.
Everything was in its infancy. Computers and internet was in its infancy, right? It was had just starting to develop, to roll out. And if you wanted to talk, like if I wanted to talk to you, I had to do it through landline or in person.
Right.
Like there was no cell phones, no wireless connections, things like that. That was unheard of. Right. Like if I had something to tell you, either I called you on the phone. Right. But back then we all had restrictions. Right. It's a school night. You can't get on the phone after certain hours. Right.
Yeah.
So we had all kinds of stuff going on. So you had to wait till like the next day in school. You know how hard that was sometimes when you had some good gossip.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, he needs to know about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you couldn't talk to your girlfriend like crazy. Like you'd go on vacation and nothing.
Yeah.
You not hear of them. They're disappeared for a week. They're gone for 2 weeks. Right. Nowadays, you just stay connected with their own little selfies here and there everywhere you go.
Text.
Oh, look, I'm eating a cupcake. Oh, look, my rice. Oh, look. And everybody's like sends pictures of everything they do. Look at me pooping, and it's just.
I don't do those selfies.
Want me to pull them up?
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. That's a whole different page. Everybody, you got to pay $19.95 a month for that content. So.
Or get what I have, the VIP membership.
The VIP membership, yeah.
But
it comes with a necklace. We're not going to tell you what.
Out of control. Out of control.
Out of control.
But thinking about that, we that was our life, you know.
Yeah.
You know how I found out, like, if my friends down the street were home, run down the street.
Yeah.
How you doing, Miss Smith? Is Bobby home?
Yeah. Is Bobby there?
Yeah. No, there was no calling. There was no because of people. They kick you out of the house. You're like, don't come in this house. You better stay outside.
Right.
Right. You can be coming in and out, in and out.
Oh, yeah.
You're letting all the AC go out.
Right.
Like,
You better not slam that door.
Oh my God, the 80s are so.
But what's funny is I remember doors being left open. Like I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Unlocked, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. That was the thing.
So
everybody had their screen door.
yeah,
Remember
screen door.
That creepy little noise they made. Everybody had the screen doors.
Everybody had screen for the flies.
Yeah, and doors were never closed.
Doors were
locked. Or
locked.
anything.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember specifically on it was Halloween, and I remember my grandparents always, they were really cool in their neighborhood and giving out candy and stuff like that. And I remember I had this crazy costume on, and I was so used to it. They never locked their door. So I go right up to the door and open it. I walk in, and my grandmother turns around. She's like, "Ooh, who are you?" I took off the mask. I'm like, "Hey, it's me." They're like, "Oh my gosh, that one's so great looking." And
it's so funny.
But it's just so, like, people can't fathom that now.
No.
I wouldn't leave my door open.
No.
I don't trust the
no.
Amazon guy. I mean, to not open the door, so it's weird. And you think about timing and stuff. So talking about people that were born, years back when, I don't know, I guess we were probably 14 or 15, around that age roughly. So in 1986, Halley's Comet came through, right? And that comes through every 80 years or something like that. So I was there with my dad, and one of his friends that was born in the late 1800s.
Jesus.
Yeah. So when he passed away, which that's been years ago now, but when he passed away, he was like 103 or something like that.
Holy.
So here's the crazy part. We're standing there so this is 1986. We're standing there looking up at the sky with Halley's Comet. You can see the tail and everything of it. And, it was like a kind of a weird looking, star with, I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't like,
it had like a little trail.
Yeah. It wasn't like this amazing thing that, but it was really cool to look at it. And I'll never forget when he said this. He goes, "Gosh, I can remember this from my childhood, seeing this the first time." And it just tripped me out to think about that. Like, what? That was 80 years ago that thing was. And he was like, "Yeah, I was a kid when this."
That's crazy. Can you imagine living that long to see it again?
Well, because it was in 86. So that would have been in 1906 or roughly sometime around then. And he was crazy. He was a little kid, but he was alive at the time.
Talking about Halloween, I remember so vividly our costumes. There were these little plastic things you got into with just a mask, with that little string behind it, that little elastic string. That was your mask. You just had the eye cut out and a little slant for your mouth.
What were those called?
Costumes.
Yeah, but
they had a special name. That was our costumes. I don't think they had a special name. They were just so generic.
There was a company that made those. That it was like one company that made almost all of those.
What is it? Is there a specific name for it?
I'm looking it up.
Plastic costumes?
Yeah. Boy, it doesn't. God, see, and Google's terrible now. So I mean, like, it's bringing up Barbie stuff. That was not costumes back then. Trust me.
Well, no, clearly it wasn't one of them. But it just so much things. Those, bro, those.
They were essentially garbage bags with kind of cooler.
I don't know. You'll put it up here so we could see it. Yeah. It's awesome. But also just our fashion. Remember, our fashion was so different. Like the neon colors. The women had shoulder pads in their things.
All the 80s colors.
Oh man, we were bedazzled back then.
Bedazzled,
leg warmers, Vans. OP. That's when all that big
Ocean
old
Pacific
scene started coming in.
Lightning bolt.
What that means? I thought it meant something else for the
other meaning.
time.
It was like Adidas. They had its own. Yeah.
But there was so many.
You guys put in the comments if you remember all the acronyms that
the dirty ones.
the dirty ones.
But like pop culture was so different back then. Like our music, we had like Michael Jackson, we had Madonna,
yeah.
Prince.
She was actually a virgin, like a virgin back then.
And everything has been so diversified since then. It's changed and things like that.
Right.
And are you checking me out?
No.
Okay. I was just like wondering what you were doing there. I thought you were checking me out.
Well, we got so just so you guys know, when we're sitting here, we're looking at like 12 screens in front of us. And
he can't get enough of me. Just one. He needs a man.
And I can't see myself, so I'm always doing this.
But we talk about now like things that are like normal, right? Which I never thought I would see as normal, but like email, right? No big thing. If you wanted mail back then, you had to mail it. You had to write a letter. Lick the damn envelope, seal it, put a stamp, put it out there.
Yeah, and they didn't have.
Why do you make everything so sexual?
They didn't have self sticky stamps either, right?
Yeah,
like now you peel them off, put them on, you're good. You had to.
Yeah, 60 people know what they're talking about because they used to lick acid. So
don't mix those stamps up, okay?
Damn baby boomers.
Yeah, boomers.
But go boomers. Anyway.
So for any of you millennials that would say, oh, look at these boomers on here.
We ain't boomers.
We ain't boomers. Just
we're millennials, baby.
So
millennials. But things have changed. So
we're not millennials.
I mean, sorry. GenX'ers. What am I saying, millennial? See, that's how old I am. I don't even know what.
We forgot what we are.
What's my name? But like, the movies have changed so much.
Oh, man.
The movies back in the 80s, we had some great like pulp culture movies. We had some great era movies that were just like you mentioned. In fact, in the beginning of this podcast, Back to the Future.
Oh man, one of my all-time favorite movies. Period.
Yeah, I mean that was so. The storylines were great. The Goonies,
the
right?
Goonies,
the Good has this is one of my. That's the favorite.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. It's a cult classic. Man. It will forever be.
Oh my god. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
Ferris Bueller.
And then of course you had Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, all them movies, all those. The Penny Marshall and what's his name? That
John Hughes.
John Hughes movies. I mean, they were some great movies back then.
And put down in the comments if you know where Penny Marshall, what little TV show she starred in.
I know. I used to watch it. So, like even the TV shows, right? We had like my grandma was in love with Tom Selleck from Magnum PI.
Oh, Magnum PI.
She loved him. Yeah. That was her
Ferrari.
But I remember like Airwolf, Chips.
Chips.
Station
99, the fire truck
Emergency. It was called Emergency.
Emergency. Yeah. Emergency 99. See, I'm getting old too.
The Chips. What was the other one? Knight Rider. Remember? God, there's so many of these shows that were like they were cool back in the day. You watch them. Now you see commercials or like you watch them on like social media platforms. I'm like, God, that's so lame.
Oh yeah. You know what? So for everybody, and this even goes past the 80s, because when was the first one? 1967, I think, was the first James Bond movie. And James Bond is a great one to watch. So you can see it through the years and decades. And like the latest ones was what was it? Daniel Craig. Those were
Roger Moore, and Roger Moore.
I loved he will always be
all-time favorite.
Yeah.
But the one after him was like I think he did one or two, and he was like he got booted out.
Timothy Dalton,
maybe?
Yeah. Sean.
Yeah.
So
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Yes, I always get beat up when people are who's your favorite Bond. I'm like, it has to be Roger Moore, and they're like, no, Sean Connery. I'm like, listen, I think Sean Connery's amazing. But
those movies weren't around when we were like they weren't our
right. They weren't
year.
our time. Yeah. Roger Moore was like he was our 007. But the reason I bring that up is because you can go back and you can watch those movies all the way from. So Sean Connery was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another guy that was in there. I forget his name because he only did one. And then Sean Connery came back for one more, and then they.
And Roger Moore took over. I think the longest running was Roger Moore.
He was. He had the most. I think he did 8 episodes. I want to say. Don't quote me on that. But
they're movies, sir. They're movies, episodes.
Yeah. But like as you see through time, it is so crazy the technology and movie making and everything, and
Star Wars. Look at Star Wars ahead of its time when it came out. I mean, that came out. The first one came out in the 70s, but it was new to us,
right?
Yeah, 76. But it was new to us when we saw it when we were, growing up, because we were kids when that first came out. So when we saw it again for our official first time in the 80s, it was great. We'd see that thing, you're like, oh my God, we thought the special effects were out of this world. You see it now, you're like, God, lame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can tell it's a model on a string. No, actually, they did an excellent
great job.
Yeah, it was really, that movie.
You're welcome, all you generations after us, for bringing you such great creativity, from people's garages and basements. Some of these things were developed. So Apple was created out of a garage.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I mean?
So it was, everything.
Microsoft too, wasn't it?
Microsoft, Apple, Disney, kind of.
Yeah. But so you look back and you see the comparison. And I think this is why people of our generation, at least the majority of them, because I know a lot of people that we went to school with are kind of lefties. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the greatness about this country. You could, pick a side. I'm not going to judge you for what your political views are, but if you're going to get in a debate with me, then of course it's going to matter, right? But
you better bring it,
bro. Bring it, brother. but what I was getting at was, you look at such difference between then and now, like there was never a question about gender back in our time growing up, right? There was a boys and girls restroom. That's it. There was no questions. There was nothing. Our gay friends went to the
whatever they
the
were,
correct gender that they were assigned, right?
Right.
And that's where they go. It wasn't a big deal. No, they didn't make a big deal out of it. We didn't make a big deal out of it. It was nothing like out of this world.
No, we had friends, like, we knew people that even if they didn't admit, right, that they were,
most of our friends that were openly gay. We didn't. It wasn't even like care. It wasn't even a thought. It wasn't even we didn't care.
And the thing is somebody might say, well, people were made fun of back then. That's why people are. Well, they may have been, but I'm telling you right now, like, somebody because they were gay or something like that. That wasn't what was made fun of. It was normally if you were just weird, like you were dorky or awkward, socially awkward kind of thing.
Oh, could you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah. I used to make fun of Joe all the time.
He'd be like, "Where's Joe?" Oh, there he is.
Wow.
Rude. Anyway, but no, I mean, here's the thing, and this goes for anything. I mean, are there bigots? Are there racists? There is. There
always will be.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't count for the majority. Right.
Oh no, man.
Most of the time that wasn't even a factor. We never even looked at things. We didn't look at skin color. We didn't look at anything like that. But all those things didn't matter back in the 80s. 40 years ago, none of that mattered. It seems like now there's a more focus on that than there was 40 years ago, which is crazy because it seems like we're going backwards, not forward. You know what I mean?
What you focus on, you get happenings on, you get results on, good or bad.
Yeah.
Right. And if you focus that race is a race or gender or any of this stuff is a major thing that you need to worry about, or our teachers saying you as a kid, you're this gender or you're this race, life is going to be really difficult for you. Our teachers never said that.
No, I remember going to class and not having to worry about getting like spoon fed whatever the teachers believed in. I remember going to my German class and seeing, German flag. Right. And pictures of Germany and things like that, because it's German class. In Spanish class, they had, which let me just tell you now, Mr. Teacher from Spanish class, you had the wrong flag up. You had the flag from Spain.
Yeah. I remember
our old town is mostly Mexicans. They don't know nothing about Spain. But anyway.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Right.
Mr.
Fuller.
Yeah.
Fuller. And then in history, they had history. You had an American flag in every classroom. I mean, it was so just normal. And I think that's one of the reasons that today, when people like of our age in our mid 40s, look at those things. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Look at those.
Run with it. Run with it.
Run with it. Go with it. No one's saying nothing. Now we look back and we see these things in the news and stuff. We're like shocked. We're like, I think that's one of the things that makes it difficult for me. Like, I can't comprehend it. Like, I look at it, I'm like, why is that? Why is that person's personal beliefs, gender beliefs, sexual preference in the classroom? Like, what's that have to do with anything? And I think that's what bothers me the most about today versus 40 years ago, where everything was done for the kids, right? Yeah. Hey, it's about the environment. It's about, we have to create a good learning environment. Clearly that wasn't that good when you had a smoking area for underage kids at the high school, right?
Yeah, we had it was called a smoking quad. Remember that?
It was right by the senior quad.
By the senior quad, yeah.
Yeah, because it was only them that were supposed to be able to smoke.
Pretty much. You were supposed to be 18, right?
No, we didn't have an age. I think it was 16.
It was 16.
I don't know, but the laws got more strict.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you make smoking more strict, but legalize marijuana.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, what's funny is, like, when and where we were going to high school, it was like our years were the last freedom years at the school.
They locked that sucker down.
They locked it down because
we had an open campus.
Yeah, like at lunchtime, we'd just leave campus. We'd go to whatever. There was
like 50 million fast food joints around us, and sometimes we chose to come back. Sometimes we didn't.
There was I was in band class, so right around from the band class was the Carl's Juniors was right there, and Alpha Beta.
Yeah, I remember Alpha Beta
parking lot.
Yeah,
that has since been closed, torn down.
They expanded high school there.
They expanded the high school there. Yeah, that's
remember
crazy.
Sizzlers?
Sizzlers, yeah. I think
dude, I used to love their buff. Their all you can eat. Now it's closed.
It is.
It's gone.
Oh wow,
it's shut down. Yeah, I was like,
it couldn't have been the pandemic, was it?
I don't know. I don't know when they closed it. I asked my daughter. She's like, I don't remember that.
Maybe it was a long time.
I don't even know why she would remember, because I never took her there. I took my boys there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I never took her there. She was a Vegas girl. She was born in Vegas. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah,
you went there.
I went there.
But yeah, no, it's like, oh man, people like that campus was a ghost town at lunch. Remember?
Yeah,
all the parking lots gone.
Yeah.
Everybody in the parking lot's gone. Remember the VW bugs that were so popular back then?
Yep.
Old beat up ones.
Yep.
People.
They're like spitting and popping when they'd come into there.
I remember coming to school on my brand new hot right off the damn factory line, my Datsun B210. It wasn't new. It was like a very old Datsun.
I was gonna say
looked like an egg. I was a hand-me-down for my brothers. I'm like, really? This is what I get? I'm like, that's cute.
It was our junior year that I got that Camaro. It was a the Camaro. 1967 blue Camaro.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And it was funny because
you're such a whore back in the day.
Well, because excuse me. So all the girls wanted to ride in the wanted to ride the Camaro once. Why once? Well, because we lived in the desert.
No AC.
No AC, vinyl seats. We'd go somewhere. And
that's a true definition of hot boxing.
We'd get back in the back. If they were wearing skirts, the back of their legs were all burnt. Had red lines from the seats.
Your clothes be all sticky from sweating off that vinyl.
Yep.
I loved it.
And you know what? Speaking about where did we go for shoes once a year?
Oh, the fair.
The fair.
Like Vans, boy. You get like
Vans.
$10 Vans, man.
Yeah, because
people walk out of there with boxes.
I remember because again, I was in band, so we would do the parade for the was that President's Weekend, right?
It was
President's Weekend, and then the fair would kick up.
It'd go right. That'd be the grand opening. You guys would do the parade and right into the fair.
Right into the fair, yeah. And so because we would do the parade, they gave us like the band all free tickets, so we would always
go figure.
So my mom would always give me money. She's like, all right, get your shoes.
Those shoes, bro. They had the checker. They had all the popular bands.
And
now you're paying like $80.
I think they were
freaking thing.
I think it was $5.
2 for 10. I thought they were $10.
Maybe it was 2 for 10. And you know what? I think it was like $7 for a pair or two pairs for 10. Yeah. And yeah, they had lace ups, but back then we were all doing slip-ons.
Slip-ons were
everybody had checkered slip-ons. We all looked like Spicoli.
And then if you could, and if you couldn't buy the checkered, then the girls would get these girls who'd write them on there,
write them on there.
Pen, remember?
Yeah,
I used to.
Some of them were really good. And then people would do on the toe part, they do like a picture, and then they'd actually do the rest of the checkers.
It was like because they were like almost. Our Vans were back kind of canvassy.
They were very canvassy.
Remember? Yeah. So they used to draw
it too, man.
Yeah, they did.
The only thing that you'd wear out would be the soles just beating them up on the concrete.
Yeah, I think they got good deals on like old tents and just made a bunch of Vans out of them. I don't know what the hell they did. But those were the
tents from Vietnam.
Yeah. The Fiat Conch. But there was two things I'd go to the fair. Vans and cinnamon rolls. That line, man. Even as I got older, man, those things just got better.
So for us, we wouldn't have done it, but all the girls that would have went there, some of them might have went for Vans, cinnamon rolls, and those stupid black and white pictures.
Oh my God!
I remember those,
bro.
Everybody had those.
Like I remember seeing a couple of my friends' pictures, and the first thing you saw was like who had the highest hair. Dude, that's froze, bro. I'd be like, oh, that's nice. But back then it was cool. You're like, oh, that's cool. You look at them now, I'm like, what? How did you?
Aquanet,
baby. You know what? People like they don't make that stuff anymore. Like they don't make things that hold your hair like that.
No.
Well, clearly it was like 100% flammable, but who's lighters smoke around that thing, right? But dude, man,
that's what happened to Michael Jackson.
I remember, oh my God, like every person that those black and white booths were filled, bro.
Yes.
How many people could you fit in there? You had family portraits.
Yeah.
Because back then, guys, I don't know if you know this, we were a very serious community. We were having kids at 16 years old over there. We were. Tell me it's not true.
Yeah,
we had girls in there with babies in there.
Yeah.
Which, hey, you know what? Their kids grew up. They're great kids. They nothing. It's just funny because our community was like just that way, and it was like they do family portraits in this little black and white booth
at the fair.
And I'm like, oh, all right.
Every once in a while you'd see some of the people doing they had those photo booths. That was like legit the first photo booths. Remember the Western one?
Oh yeah.
And they'd have
oh, that old time old time pictures.
And they'd actually put it in the like oval frame, and it was all like that black and white. It was sepia, like that kind of.
Oh, look at you with the big fancy words.
Well, I took photography class too.
I
was that nerd.
I know. You know what I did too? I
was awkward.
I used to get the do you remember that? It was right by that? Yeah, it was right by that booth was the would carving things. They make your name and stuff like that. Yeah, I did that a couple times. I changed my name a couple times in school, so those signs, I was all kinds of things, you know what I mean? I was gay, I was not, I was binary, I actually came up with those terms.
Yeah.
Binary, non-binary. I developed back in the 80s.
Wow.
I didn't. I'm lying. But there was so much cool stuff back then in the 80s that it was just, I don't know, man.
We're gonna have to make a road trip and go back to the fair.
We did that one time. Remember we were down there when we went to that cruise? We drove by there.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And we saw, and it's funny, there was this restaurant that it's called the Wiener Schnitzel. But back in our day, it was called Der Wiener Schnitzel. But they thought it was too German. Right, because it was Der Wiener Schnitzel,
and it was written in like the German
font, in that German old English font.
Yeah,
but they had the best chili dogs, chili cheese fries,
right across the street from the fair.
And we would leave.
Everybody would go there.
Everybody would leave the fair because the fair food was expensive.
Yeah,
except for the cinnamon rolls, we'd give our child away for a cinnamon roll. But you'd go across. It was right across the street, so you cross the street, go to Der Wiener Schnitzel. And order your food, and we'd be pigging out and then right back to the fair because we had the little bands.
Yeah,
we go right back to the fair. Oh my, and it was one of the coolest fairs to us. It was. We had remember ostrich races.
Yeah, ostrich races.
Camel
pig races.
Then the Arabian Nights show,
the pageant.
Yeah. We had a lot of cool stuff that was going on in the fair. But back in the 80s, you had all these weird things. We were just talking about this the other day. I go, hey, you remember those Coke bottles that they'd stretch the neck out and they'd fill them with layers colored of sand and stuff like that? God, we had some of the gayest stuff out there.
You know what? Everybody wanted a 7-Up bottle because they were green. Remember?
Yeah.
When they did that, they'd always want the green bottles with the sand in them.
And remember, and then I remember the fashions. It's like if it was yesterday. I remember just walking to the back, because that's where the carnival was in the back,
part,
right?
Yeah.
And in Midway, the Midway was back there too.
Double Ferris wheel.
Yeah, you have these all, and I can't remember their names, but I had these friends walk around with them Levi's jacket with all the buttons.
Oh yeah,
Quiet Riot, and like just Led Zeppelin, and just different, all buttoned out. You remember that time?
Yeah, totally remember it.
Yeah,
I never did the jacket thing. I had one of those.
Interesting. You sure? I think you had one of those Levi jacket with the little furry stuff inside. You didn't have those?
I didn't. I never had a Levi's jacket. I never liked them.
I had one.
I was a leather jacket guy.
Right? Yeah. I had a Levi's jacket, but I also had like a sweater that went with my Cavaricis.
You were trying to make fun of me. No, I had a baseball cap and it had pins on it. We would go, gosh, I can't remember where we would go, and you'd buy those pins, and they were like buttons, I should say.
They're like 50 cents, weren't they?
Yeah, they were dirt cheap, and everybody dig through the little buckets with them.
Yeah. There was so much stuff going on at the fair back in the days, man. And I remember like, and everybody was there with their own clique, right? Their little groups of friends they hung out with high school. They hang out there, you know. And it was just so cool.
Yeah,
you know,
it was high school at the fair is all it was.
Oh yeah, man. But you know, it was a small town, kind of still is in comparison to a lot of bigger towns, right? Like LA and San Bernardino. But it was a small town. And in that small town, though, I mean, there wasn't much to do. It was either the fair was going on or some kind of festival. We had the Tamale Festival. Remember the Tamale Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you remember Tamale Festival. You act like you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I'm not a good, I don't
how
need
many
a
years
lot.
later was that, though? That wasn't in the 80s. Yeah.
No,
that was later.
I think it was the 90s it started.
Yeah, probably in the 90s. And then the Salsa Festival, too.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they would do the Salsa Festival, and that's why that town is. I think the signs it says the city of festivals or whatever. Yeah.
We had a lot of festivals down there, but it was like it was.
And now technically that's where Coachella Fest is at.
We don't call it Coachella Fest. It's just Coachella.
Well, you remember what it was Coachella Fest for a while,
and it changed to Coachella.
What was the first thing it was called?
What was it? Indio Fest? No,
it was the Indio Arts and Music Fest.
That's right. Indio. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it went to
Music and Arts Festival. I had that backwards.
They went to Coachella Fest, and it just Coachella.
Right, because the city was like being a jerk to them or whatever, giving them a hard time on all that stuff. So the festival organizers said, "Well, we're gonna poke it to them, and we're
look how big it's gotten."
They probably regret not working with them. But
I remember,
so that's a lesson to all you government people. You never know when something's going to blow up. Make sure you work with people.
Yeah, now those tickets are ridiculous in the thousands and so. Yeah. So I remember like just growing up, like we were talking about earlier back in campus. We just leave, right, and just come back and you know, like I think I didn't have a first period class, so I'd come in later. Come in with my breakfast, and like it was like the environment was just so different.
Oh, you had home ec first or second period?
Second period, I had home ec, so I would go make burritos and stuff like that. And it just the teacher would leave us alone. Like they knew, like, all right, these seniors. I'm just happy they showed up to class. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we'd make our breakfast, and then we'd bail.
Well, because you did summer school too, right?
Yeah, I did for 4 years. So
yeah, I did too. So that by our senior year, I had I think I had honors English.
We had the required ones to get to
government,
college, which was
and then whatever math class it was. I don't remember what I had. I don't remember geometry or whatever we had.
Yeah. So, but I didn't want to take summer school. My dad made me take summer school, but
it was kind of nice because
because when senior year. It started my junior year. I started having less classes. And my senior year, like I had nothing.
I had those 3 classes,
awesome. But I had athletic sports or athletic PE, so I had to stay for those.
Right. Well, I had the same thing with the band. With the band, because I had we had after school, and then I had 2 classes because I had regular band, and then I had I was lead in jazz band.
Yeah.
And then I had another band class, but I was a teacher's aide, so I just like cleaned the band.
But you know what's so crazy about that is now that I'm just thinking about this and what you're talking about, like we never hung out now that I'm thinking about it, because we mentioned this before and from a small town, remember that podcast, that episode we did, but we didn't hang out by race. We hung out by what we did. So like
Right.
all the drama
Activities.
kids, all the drama kids hung
Absolutely.
out together.
Yep.
All the band people
100%.
hung out together. All got pregnant and stuff
Water
like that
polo
together.
people.
And all the jocks hung out together.
Oh
right?
man.
All
the band, I tell you, man, the band and drama was probably the two, because any other activity,
most perverted.
Well, you think about it, any other activity. So football, it's all guys on the football. If
we had our good times on the bus.
The cheerleaders were on their own bus.
I know.
All these,
hated that.
But when it came to band, it was a mixed bag. It was everybody was on the bus, and it was weird because I remember.
Don't forget your mom listens to the podcast.
Yeah. Well,
saying.
she knows a lot of this stuff because she was on the bus some of the time. Because she was like a what do they call it?
The band
booster, band mom, yeah. And she was actually awesome. She got kind of shoved into it because her best friend that was the band president, or booster president, or whatever the name of it was, she passed away, and they like said my mom was always helping, and they were like, hey, you need to take over this stuff. So anyhow, yeah. And I remember we would, like, you just have regular clothes on, and we had to get in our uniform, before we hit the field.
Interesting.
And I remember us changing on the bus. They're like, you got to change on the bus before. And it's like guys and girls, and you're like, well, everybody's just getting naked on the bus, I guess, because
I so picked the wrong thing to be in.
Yeah, you did, man.
You
You should have played the flute, dude. I'm telling you. No, but
I'm sure some girls did.
But the 80s were
I took flute in middle school, if that counts.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I took because you know how you
Piccolo Pete.
You had to learn how to play. So we had this little flute, little plastic flute.
Oh, that's a recorder.
Yeah, that dude. And then so I went from that to a clarinet.
Oh, yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah, and then that was it. I didn't follow it in high school because
the recorder's got a really close fingering to a clarinet or a saxophone.
You what?
Saxophone.
A close what?
Fingering.
You're nasty.
You're gonna sound like Beavis here in a minute. There's another. Yeah,
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
But no,
Cornholio.
But there were just so many, like, everything's changed. Like now today, kids are so stressed out, right? There's so much crazy stuff. Like I cannot be a child in this time right now. Trying to fit in. Like, where do I fit in? Like, people, there's so much pressure in this identity crisis that people are having, right? And kids nowadays is like, I feel like they have to fall in one of these. Like, I'm non-binary. I'm binary. I'm, and then now they've labeled us. We're not even like, we're like, hey, bro, do you, boo? Keep us out. No, now they gave us a name. We're cis. I'm like, what? Who's cis? I call that my sister. Sis.
Do you call me a sissy?
Yeah. But anyway, it's just, I feel like today's kids have so much more to deal with. And when we were kids, I think the biggest thing was get home before the lights turned on in the streets because you're going to get a whooping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And close that door when you come in. Don't
we
leave
were
it
the
wide
first
open.
generation of latchkey kids that were coming home with no parent at home, because they're both working, or you had a single parent home where that parent was at work and you're getting home from school, and it's like, all right, you got to open up and get your homework done and stuff. Think about that nowadays, how it seems like impossible. You mentioned something. You said, you didn't think you'd be able to be a kid in this day and age and grow up in it. Well, they can't either. That's the problem, is that the young kids growing up now, the adults
take this country back.
So this is one of the things that I'm not a big Disney fan at all anymore because of all the dumb nonsense they've been pulling. But back in the day, and so this kind of shows that they've always had like this weird sickness to them, or the people that are working there did. A lot of their movies had some adult weird content in it, right? That was like
I own one. The Little Mermaid had one.
Little Mermaid,
and I have
Aladdin. There's a few of them that have some weird stuff in it.
The Lion King.
The Lion King, yeah. The dust when it comes up.
Yeah.
So, and back then we had VHS tapes, so you could actually pause it like exactly, and go like step by step.
It was crazy.
The thing is, who noticed that? Who noticed it? It was adults. It wasn't the kids. The kids were watching Mufasa, and
Mufasa.
And, they were watching.
Say it again.
So they were watching the
That stupid
cartoon,
Whoopi.
and adults noticed that, and they made a big deal about it. And then the kids, were now interested in it and wanted. So it's the same thing that's happening now. Kids grow up, right? And we are the stewards of their future. And we're telling these little kids that, you need to worry about what sex you're going to be, and you need to worry about all this kind of stuff.
Dude, worry about being a kid, man.
You need to worry about being a kid. Let them grow up. Let them go outside and skin their knees, and play ball and tag and make mud huts and all the kind of stuff that kids
Eat mud pies.
Eat mud pies.
I ate a couple of those in my time.
Be careful on which ones you pick.
Thank you, Buffy, for making me eat mud pies.
Buffy. Buffy.
You remember Buffy? She was my neighbor.
Yeah, that's funny.
I grew up around a bunch of girls because there was no boys in my
happened.
Wow. Just because I'm in tune with my feminine side means nothing. Means absolutely
nothing. See, we learned
nothing.
that on our own. We didn't have parents shoving it down our throats. So,
I remember I look back and I'm like, God, man, parents were crazy. Like, your parents were like, don't touch the stove. If you do, make sure it's off. Don't leave the gas on. Make sure it's all the way off. If you get burnt when I get home, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, you're gonna get beat up.
Well, after I hurt myself, I'm gonna get beat.
Yeah,
I'm like,
if you fall off that roof and break your leg, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you.
Dude, one time I fell off a tree. My grandma whooped me for climbing the tree.
Yeah.
After she tended my wounds,
right,
she whooped me.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix you up, and then I'm gonna tend to your butt.
Nowadays, boy, you look at a kid wrong, and they go into some kind of depression. They got to go to counseling for a year because my dad saw me with a side eye,
and they don't even know what it is. It's like, what happened? My dad hurt my feelings. What did he do to you? I have a gluten allergy. I don't know.
There's people in America that really have gluten allergies, Jay, and I think you should be more considerate.
Be sensitive.
Look, man,
don't be so sensitive, America.
What were people doing before they realized they had a gluten issue?
And peanuts. When did peanuts become such a big thing, man? Jeez Louise. Now airplanes are like, oh my gosh, we can't serve you.
Before, everyone wanted donuts in the mouth.
Wow.
The peanuts. See how you twist things all the time?
It's always me. It's always me. Gutter to the brain.
Well.
Yeah. So, it was one of my favorite times, and definitely in history. And part of it's because, we really lived it. And again, like the John Hughes movies and stuff like that. And, the Goonies and Back to the Future and all these movies that were just like, so, even kids now, the references that people say now, Doc Brown is as important now with his sayings
as
relevant now as they were back then. It's just really great.
I think, what I think one thing that I want people to take away from our this episode is, what we need to once in a while put these electronic devices down.
Yeah.
Learn to communicate with each other, learn to communicate with your parents,
talk to one another,
parents with your kids. I see so much of people, like, you have your little kids, you take them out to McDonald's, the first thing the parent does, hand them an iPad.
Yeah.
Like, deal with that.
This and eat your McNuggets and leave me alone.
When did iPads become the babysitter of your kids?
And they really are.
And we need to change that. We need to kind of go back to basics. Something that we talk about a lot is going back to basics. We need, get out there and talk to people, man. Stop being so isolated from the world. That's why we have so many problems psychologically, is because everybody's so isolated and in their own world, and they're focused on TikToks, and they're focused on doing this and that. But then, behind closed doors, they're just so timid. They're so frail.
Right.
So, get out there and talk to people. Walk. Look how beautiful it is outside. Enjoy that 12 inches of snow, Michigan. Just have a good time. But I don't know. Maybe we're never gonna jump on that bus again. Maybe that hippie bus came and gone already. I don't know, Jay. What do you think? I don't know.
There's gonna be a giant reset button hit here pretty soon. That was rough to the ending, right?
No.
So we're going to find a DeLorean. We're going to go back in time. We're going to beat the crap out of Biff and make sure that the future, and we all know who Biff is nowadays.
Yeah.
and we're going to make sure the future is good. But part of that is all of us got to make the right decisions. We got to be better to one another, and
Definitely.
and really look on the positive side of things. And I'm not saying look at the world through rose-colored glasses. There's always nonsense going on, and there always will be. There's no way you're going to change billions of people's minds all at once. But
you only need to change one.
You only need to change one, your own.
That's it. Just change one, and that one will change another, and that one another.
That's right.
We can't change the world, but we could change who we are and how we see it.
Yeah.
So let's do better. I think.
Yeah.
With society, and if we do go back to the future, we're grabbing that almanac, and we're gonna be rich.
That's
we're
right.
Be rich when we come back. So tune in next week when we're rich, because we went back to the future.
Yeah.
I could still not understand what that means. Back to the future.
We're gonna.
I don't know. It's weird.
This time it's gonna be a Tesla, not a DeLorean.
Well, this time it really might go back to the future.
Yeah. Right. What's 40 years from now?
Oh my God, that's a long time.
2064.
That's 64. I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't fathom 24, let alone 64.
No,
you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Back in the 20s, I thought we were going to die in the 20s because remember the Aztecs said, or 2000.
Oh yeah, 2012.
Yeah. We were all going to.
And Aztec calendar said that's it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. We're still here.
Well, guys,
not for long.
If any of you have anything, please put in the comments about the 80s if you experienced them, or maybe you weren't born quite in the 80s, you were born after. And there's things that have still influenced you, or movies or anything like that. We'd love to hear about it. And for you, those of you that were born much before the 80s, 70s, and beyond,
hey, boomers.
Yeah, hey, boomers. Let us know. What your your perspective is really great, because you experienced life before the 80s and then went through the 80s and then of course afterwards now. And what did you think about that decade? Was it like a complete
man, you guys were around when Jesus was, so let us know how that was.
Wow.
Just kidding. We love you guys.
Well, on that note, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, and that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. It's you all that help our channel grow. If there's a topic you would like to see us cover in the future, please let us know at joeandjayproductions.com/ideas. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Take care of one another.
Remember to do better and be better.
And as always,
God bless America. We'll see you.
See ya.